Alright, so if you follow the War on Corruption platform on Twitter, you're not going to know what I'm fixing to talk about. But that's why we're making this video. If you follow us on Tumblr, you're also not going to know what I'm fixing to talk about. So this video is predominantly for you guys. So here's the thing. If you saw the recent article, chances are you clicked on it and immediately saw something about subscription. Fact of the matter is War on Corruption is in the process of doing some radical changes. Why? Because I'm in the process of trying to find some way to prepare for the future so that I don't have to face the reality of potentially shutting the doors because I can no longer afford the website. So, with that being said, we have decided to make some changes because some of you may or may not be aware, up until about mid last year, we actually did have funding. And it was about mid last year that we lost the funding completely. The problems had actually started in 2018, but they concluded in 2019. So with that being said, I'm doing what I should have done back then, and that is ratify the problem. The solution to the problem is paid subscriptions. That way, at the end of the year, the money is there to pay the platform. For those of you that don't know, the website is several $100s to going. $300 just for the website. That's not counting all of the other crap that I have on the site. Needless to say, it gets very, very expensive by the time I break everything down. So we're just going to spare you guys that. We're not going to go through and break down the entire website. Alright, so we're working out various different options on how we're going to make this work. Because 90% of our followers are just that, they're followers. They may or may not interact with the platform. In fact, most of the people that follow us do not interact with the platform at all, as far as I can tell. So we know that we're probably going to lose quite a few people in doing this. So the people that ultimately do support what we do are the ones that are going to stick around. So we're also aware of that. But we don't really want to leave everybody in the dirt. So one of the ideas that is being discussed is our more controversial stuff, like the last article I just did regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. We're thinking of putting that stuff as a paid subscription in contrast to our more mundane stuff. We're also considering doing specific topics that are paid subscription versus topics that are not paid subscriptions. We're always open to ideas. If anybody that sees this video has ideas of their own, more than welcome to give input. We're definitely about community. It's always been kind of a community thing, the way I've seen it I've started it. So I've always been open to input and making changes and things of that nature. So that's just one of the ideas that we're bouncing. The other idea was everything being subscription only. But like I said, that kind of leaves everybody behind that can't afford a subscription. So it is a work in progress. It is something that is currently what I would call a testing mode, as we try to figure out how we're going to do this, how it's going to work, and hopefully be better prepared by the end of the year. For those of you guys that haven't realized, or that, well, didn't know, up until recently, I've been having to fund the platform out of my own pocket. COVID-19 solved that problem. So, In 2019, like I said, it was very difficult. We almost closed. I was able to save up the money really quick to do that. However, since then, I am no longer employed at this point in time. Probably explains why I'm on the computer a lot, right? Yeah, it does. So until this magic virus that has a 6-foot radius decides to simply off, I'm in the category with a lot of you guys out there. So those are a couple of things that we're working out. Don't worry about the smoke. That's just Casper. Yeah, my house is haunted. Now it's really going to be haunted because I said that. Anyway, I'm trying to be cheerful. Anyway, so I'm kind of pre-planning for the future and trying to get War on Corruption to where it can sustain itself. We're going to be cutting a lot of unnecessary expenses. Behind the scenes, we support 2 different content creators on Patreon. If you're one of those content creators, I'm sorry to tell you this, but in the next week or so, do not be surprised if we pull our support. It's not because we don't support you. I absolutely do. It's because at this point in time, I've got to make some very hard business calls on behalf of the platform. And unfortunately, that's going to be one of the business calls. Hopefully, it's just a temporary move. It won't be a permanent thing. But I can still give you guys a shout out, things of that nature. We'll discuss all that in the behind the scenes thing. So just hit me up on direct messages or even email me. We'll discuss all that. So that is one of the expenses that we're going to be cutting. For the time being, I'm holding off on getting some other equipment. I do have my high def webcam that I'm currently not using. For some reason, I decided, hey, let's just use the PC cam. I don't know why. So, but in time, we're going to be getting some better equipment. That's one of the other things that once we get this whole thing going, better equipment, better setup for the office, things of that nature. But until then, until we get everything kind of balanced out, figure out how we're going to roll with all of this, everything is in the testing phase. Everything's open for suggestions, and hopefully, in the near future, things will be a little bit more stable for the platform. We are looking into kind of shifting into a different direction with things. Quite frankly, I'm wanting to get away from the Black Lives Matter thing altogether. For those of you that don't know, we did have a BLM activist person that was doing some journalism for us. Those of you that were following us at that time, you already know how that went. So you already have the idea as to why my platform no longer really goes in that direction nor supports that movement. Those of you that don't know, I think I have an article debunking the former journalist. All of our previous articles, this is one of the things that I need to address. All of our previous articles are going to remain as they are. They're not going to be affected in any way, shape, or form. Because when they were published, we did not have a subscription program. And I feel that it would be unethical to go back through every single article and stamp it with a subscription. So those articles are not going to be affected. Future articles will be. Not going to say all of them. I don't intend to do it with all of them, but definitely the more controversial articles. We are looking at potentially getting away from YouTube because they seem to be flagging videos that I do. I've had 2 of them flagged with no availability to dispute why. Not even an explanation as to why. I called YouTube out on Twitter regarding the false flagging and have yet to hear anything, and I probably won't. Did a video regarding a boy that was arrested for going to school. That was the most recent one that was flagged. Somehow discussing a teenager being arrested for going to school violates YouTube's terms of service. Meanwhile, videos showing Black Lives Matter beating the holy bejesus out of people, perfectly fine. Welcome to YouTube. If you're new, stay tuned. It gets better. So, those are some of the changes that we're going to be making. Those are some of the changes that have been made. Like I said, open for suggestions. You can hit us up at any one of our sites, Facebook. You can direct message me on Twitter. waroncorruption@protonmail.com. I'm going to be honest with you. It may be me that responds. It may be somebody else on the team that responds. So if you email that one, just be aware of that. There are 2 different people that have access to that email aside from myself. So beyond that, that's pretty much all I have for now.